Hi, I'm Mike and welcome to my DIY workshop. This video shows you how to use a manual mitre saw. It is one of 3 videos on the subject of sawing wood. The other 2 cover using a hand saw and an electric jigsaw. So this is the mitre saw. It has an assembly here which enables you to saw backwards and forwards while keeping the blade absolutely vertical. At the moment it's set for a 90-degree cut, but we can alter that by lifting this bottom lever, turning that like that, or right down like that, and the lever will drop into pre-selected notches at certain points around the scale. So that's 45 degrees, that's 90 degrees. This silver bar here needs very slight lubrication to make sure it slides very smoothly without any jerks. The blade, when you want to use it, needs to be grease free and rust free, but when you put the saw away for storage you can put a smear of oil on the blade to stop it going rusty, but do clean it off before you start sawing. By the way, I've got the mitre saw screwed down to the bench, 2 screws at the other end, so that I can concentrate on holding the workpiece in place and doing a smooth sawing action. Here we've got a very simple adjustable clamping system which works okay if the workpiece is nice and square like that. But this clamp can be switched over to this side depending what you're doing and which angle you're trying to cut. Now here's a situation. Suppose that we want to cut this moulding vertically, which means we'd have to put it in the machine like that and try and clamp it, but we can't clamp it because of that tapered effect. There is a way around that in many cases, which I'll show you with this simple tapered section. So this one we want to cut vertically like that by putting it in the machine, and we'd like to clamp it. So if we get another tapered piece like that, these 2 faces are now parallel, which enables us to put it in the machine and clamp. And we can make our cut. Before you do cut, always press down hard on the piece to be cut to make sure it is really touching the bed of the machine. Then you'll get an accurate cut. In a similar fashion then, you can use a second piece of the same moulding but reversed like that. So this is the piece to be cut, and this is the piece that enables the clamping. So just clamp it up like that and we're ready to go. If you can't use the clamp, then you have to use your fingers and your grip. So I've got my fingers hooked underneath the back of this upstand, pressing down hard with my thumb, then I can do my sawing action. I've now got the depth gauge in operation, which enables you to cut off several pieces all the same length. So what we do is just push up the timber up to there and cut again. And there's another piece. If you don't want to fiddle about setting up the depth gauge, but you want to cut a series of short pieces of moulding or a small section wood, then you can use a block of wood, set it in the exact right place, clamp it, and now you can push a piece of wood up to the block of wood and make your cut. You might like to do a test piece first just to check that you've got the exact correct length. The golden rule when using the mitre saw is to choose an edge on your workpiece and always use that for marking out and relating to the back of the saw bed. Then you can't make a mistake. For example, and instead of cutting that way, you accidentally cut it that way, which means that is scrap. When you're setting out to cut a long piece of moulding into shorter mitered pieces like this, you're going to have to keep cutting wedges like that to waste, and it's very important therefore to think about what you're doing and which angle you're cutting at. I just want to clarify how we mark out. I've already said that you should pick one edge to relate to the saw bed, so that's the edge that we're using and that we're going to put our pencil mark on. We want to make that exactly the same length as this, so check the line up there, and using a very fine pencil mark exactly there where this piece ends. Now that pencil mark, I do it in such a way that when I put the saw on there, I'm actually going to cut on the pencil mark, not at the side. And then just one more precaution, just put a little faint pencil line like that to remind us that we're cutting that way and not that way. If you want to work on the floor, and there's a lot of advantages there, especially if using long lengths of moulding, I can show you a different setup which works very well. So here we are with the saw on the floor, and it's actually screwed down to this white platform which is some offcuts of furniture board. Now I want to make another piece like that. So if I'm making another one like that, I've also got to cut down there. So now I've got to turn the saw back the other way. So there's my mark reminding me that I'm cutting this way. My other two videos about sawing wood are listing on screen over on the right. If you'd like to watch one now, you can just click the item. Or if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, you can click the circular avatar down on the left. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon.